Welcome to Yakar Tel Aviv's Parasha podcast, and this week is Parashat Yitro, the 10 Commandments. Does the Torah really tell us what to think and how to feel? Now, we've managed to kind of avoid this question very, very prettily by normally distinguishing between feeling and action. So that we say doesn't matter so much what you're feeling, just don't act upon it. I can feel it, be envious, I can have all sorts of non-pleasant thoughts, but at least I don't act on it. I respect that there are other people in the world. It's nice. I actually don't think it's what the Torah means. There just are too many commandments in the Torah which reference emotion and thought, feelings. It just doesn't seem that the Torah thinks that it's not commanding about feelings. There's lo tachmod, don't be envious or don't covet. There's lo tisna et achicha bilvavecha, don't hate your neighbor or brother in your heart. There's v'ahavta l'orecha kamocha, love your neighbor like yourself. Just seems like the Torah does think that we're meant to think and feel differently. So how does that happen? What does it look like? There's a Midrash Mechilta that says that instead of reading the 10 Commandments vertically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, why not read them horizontally? 1, 6, 2, 7, etc. So that 1 and 6 correspond to each other. That's an easy one. Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am Hashem your God. And Lo Tirtzach, do not murder. Every person is created within the image of God. So you can see the connection. Now what's 5 and 10? 5 and 10, well 10 we've started to discuss, is Lo Tachmod, don't covet, don't be jealous. Question if it means don't be jealous. And Kabed et Avicha v'et Imecha, number 5, honor your parents. This seems counterintuitive. What is the connection? How do they correspond or diametrically oppose each other? Let me suggest that Kabed et Avicha v'et Imecha, honor your parents, both when you zoom in and zoom out, is based on Hakarat HaTov. It's based on a relationship, a knowledge of myself vis-a-vis others, my parents. It's based on boundaries. The self is within a framework of understanding where I've come from. And this makes responsibilities. I need to take care of my parents. It's actually a test case, a litmus test for how I look at the world. There's self, there's boundaries, there's people. I'm in relationship with people. And it creates responsibility. Whereas Lo Tachmod is almost the opposite of that. One has a self, an ego, which actually is very uncomfortable with itself and always needs the certification of others from outside. It needs to take from others. It's almost like a black hole, an unsatiated desire of always taking and eating and devouring the world because it itself is empty. There is a self that is empty. Now I'd like to go back to the 10 Commandments and read them a different way. Let's read them vertically, okay? 1 down to 10. Of course, 1 and 10 will also correspond because they are both the opening and the closing of the book, right? The two covers of a book. And they correspond, or perhaps diametrically oppose. How do we open and how do we close the 10 Commandments? And we know that we open with thought and process and emotion, Anochi Hashem Elokecha. We go to speech, right? You can't, Lo tisa et Shem Hashem l'shav, don't take God's name in vain. And then we go into action, Shabbat and honoring one's parents. And then number 6 does the same thing in the opposite. It starts with action, we go to speech, and we end with thought and emotion in number 10. So we understand that there is a correspondence going on. So let's compare between Anochi and Lo Tachmod. So Lo Tachmod is a self which is a black hole, a self that all the time needs to be somehow buttressed up, told that it's good. It's a self that's dependent on others and on looking at others and taking. It's also a self that actually is in competition with the others. Right? I am envious, I covet, I want from others because I see the other as almost as Sartre would say, the horror. The other is my competition. I'm not in partnership with them. I'm not in relationship with them. I look to them and I feel empty. I look to them and I feel needy. I want them to do something for me. Anochi Hashem Elokecha is a way of looking at the world. We always want to know, does it make a difference? How does belief make a difference in my world? Now, I don't think religion is utilitarian. I don't think one does religion so that one gets something from it. But I do agree that the religious mind, the religious psyche, potentially has the potential to look at the world differently and behave differently. So that if I really do take seriously God that took me out of Egypt, God that is here to stay, a God that created this world, and I take seriously the idea that I am God's creation, the potential for Kedusha in this world, then so are others. The other is not somebody I am in competition with. The other is a partner with me for God's Kedusha, for the manifestation of holiness in this world. This world is holy, and the people in it are God's word. In that sense, there is an opportunity here of looking at the world in a very different way than Lo Tachmod looks at it, where the self is the center. When Anochi Hashem Elokecha, we are separate selves, but we are looking towards God, and we see each and every one of ourselves as divine, as just as we should be. Shabbat Shalom.